Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Linda from lindaspapercrafts.co.uk and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and we're on week 4 of March 2025 coffee and card using the Darling Dinos bundle. And this week we're going to use a couple of different techniques on this card, on a little joy fold card, which it's one of my favourite layouts, this. So we're going to use some braying on an embossing area, and then we're using brushes to get this effect. Now, I had this bright idea and I thought, wouldn't it be really good if we could actually use brayers to do this? This is what I got, so no, it's not. It's just too bright. The colours didn't blend at all, much at all, so I just decided that actually we'll stick with the brushing because it gives the effect I want. Right, so we have your kit here. The inks I've used today are Lemon Lime Twist, Boho Blue and Old Olive. Boho Blue and its friends in the 2023 in colour collection are going on the 4th of May, so you won't be able to order them after that date, so I suggest you get on with it and order it. So this will be going out at the end of March, so you will still have another month to order your stuff, and we have had some price rises in the card section, so if you want to stock up on card before the new catalogue comes out, that might be a good idea. I know I have. Right, okay, so let's make this card. So in your pack you've got this piece, which is measurements down below as always, but it's 5 centimeters by 14.4, and I've already embossed it using the Timber Effect embossing folder for you, because I know not everybody's got that one. So, and then a couple of white pieces to do the front and the inside, and then a backing piece for the front, so 8.5 centimetre squares, 9 centimetre square, and then just a piece for all your die cutting. And then I have a normal, it's a normal A4, A5 card, A6, I'll get there in the end, card base, but it's actually 16 centimetres by 14.85, scored at 10.5, and I seem to remember it's a while since I've put this together. Yeah, so at that it means that you can actually use the bit you've cut off to do this with, which we always like. So I've cut off 5 centimeters here, trimmed it to 14.4, and using that as your piece there. Just double checking my maths. Yes, so that has come out of one A5 piece of card. I always love it when that works. So you get 2 cards out of one sheet. Right, I digress. So we're going to do our brayering first. So I am just popping everything to one side. There we go, so I can find it all again. And I'm bringing in my brayer. Now, I've had this brayer for years. So Stampin' Up do one now, but these things last forever. So, but they are quite a useful thing to have in your stash, I find. They've been out of fashion for a while, but they are coming back in again. So I am going to pop this on my silicone mat because I don't want it wobbling all over the place. So that'll hold it nice and still while I'm doing my brayering. And I'm using Old Olive. I was thinking about it. Mossy Meadow will work as well. And I know if you haven't got Old Olive, a lot of you have got Mossy Meadow, because we did it when I used to include an ink in your coffee and card. We did a Mossy Meadow one. Right, so I am now, to ink up your brayer, you don't whack it backwards and forwards. You roll, pick it up, roll, pick it up, roll, pick it up. Okay, and I'm doing it where the details are embossed, so the details of the wood grain is raised rather than debossed, which is when it's down. Okay, so I am using this side, and I'm just going to go along with my brayer. So I'm going to start in the middle and see how quickly that detail is picked up. How fabulous is that? So it doesn't matter which way you go, you're going to get this perfect. So really pleased with that. How cool is that? So it gives you a lovely effect with very little effort. So I'm just going to clean this off. So I'm just cleaning it with a soft cloth and just sort of rolling it round and removing all the ink. Okay, and then putting that to one side to dry. And then I'm going to do the same with this as well, because this is going to get messy if I leave it. Just like I'll put my hand in it, or I'll put the card in it. Actually, I was thinking you could pick the ink up and make a pattern with it. It's not one more. Right, okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side. Now I'm going to get one of the little white squares. And I'm going to change my ink. So I've gone this time with boho blue and lemon lime twist. And brushing, as I've shown, gives a much subtler effect. So than using the brayers. Right, so I'll start with the boho blue. And I'm just going to ink up. Now, remember, when we're using our ink pads, we're very fond of using the middle, and we often forget about the outsides. So I am just coming in and blending that ink across. So just getting ink from around the sides, rubbing off the sort of words coming off your paper and on. So off the edge and then on. Now, the way to get it really, really smooth and a solid colour is to build up lots of little layers, lots of thin layers. But I'm not, because I want it to be a cloud, well, a sky. I'm not that bothered that it's blotchy. Okay, so I'm happy. I'm going to leave that there. So when I finish, I have got a dry multi-purpose cloth that I then wipe off all the excess ink of, because trying to wash blending brushes, I have decided, is a futile task. You see these videos, like, oh, just rinse it under hot water. Nah, it takes forever. I've even tried it in the washing machine. Don't do that. Largely because it didn't work. So I did put them in a pillowcase. I didn't just put them straight into the washing machine. But it didn't really do much at all. Vanish works quite well. Just soaking them in Vanish, but then you've got to rinse them till the cows come home. So I just found rubbing them on a dry cloth and keeping colour groups to brushes. So this is my green brush. I've just used my blue brush. So. Right, and there we go. I'm happy with that. So I've just blended the two together in the distance. Just a wee bit. I don't know whether it's the angle I'm looking at it, but that middle strip does look a bit lighter, so I'm just going to ink up that middle strip just to even things up a bit more. Okay, so there we are. Much better, I think you'd agree. I think that has a place. I'm not throwing it away, but I think I prefer that effect for that one. Right, so we just need to do a little bit more stamping. So I'll keep this one out because this is the surround. So using the other piece of basic white, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So I'm starting with raw means something in dinosaur, which is not on very straight. I'll show you how I put my stamps on blocks. So I line it up with the grid paper so it's straight, and then pop my block on top. And that way everything's straight, and if you keep your paper straight, there's a chance, I'm not saying it guarantees, but there's a chance your stamping will be straight. Right, okay, so back with the boho blue for the rest of the sentiment. Let's see what I said. Yeah, I love you, I've said on this one. Now I'm going to do that in my boho blue. But I am going to do it the right way around. Yeah. Oh, I've dropped my cloth. I have dropped my cloth. Just let me get it. Right, so then what you're going to do is pause the video do all your stamping. So you need our little dinosaur, one rock, a little flower and a balloon. Okay, and then I'm going to, the clouds, I actually used the tree die for these. So this little die here, I think either will work as trees or as clouds. So I've cut those out for you. So if you can, and I'll tell you my colours. I've already cut these and coloured them so that they're ready to go. So I've used light grey granite for the rocks, and I've stamped them all in Memento black. So, and then I've used lemon lime twist for the body, and light and then dark for the spots and the nails. I've used the light boho blue for the main rough and the balloon, and then I've used light melon mambo and the for the flower, and then that's light lemon lime twist and the leaves are dark lemon lime twist. But old olive is a very neutral colour, so use what you want. Have a play. So I'll put those back in my box because I don't need them. Right, okay, so let's get them out. The rest of the stuff out. So off you pop and cut all those out. Then you're back, and like in good true Blue Peter fashion, I've got all my bits done. There's my rocks. Okay, so I'm just going to build up the picture. So, and I've used a mixture of using dimensionals and using just glue for lifting and lowering stuff. But the way I did my string for my balloon is thus. So I have my scenery, and I'm just going to position my rocks are going to be there. Okay, see, I use light on these. I better use dark on those. Yeah, use what you want. Okay, so the clouds are going to be roughly there. Okay, so, and my dinosaur is going to be about there. So I want that balloon stick. I'm going to put this back on my silicone mat to keep it still. There you go. So I'm going to get my balloon. So I've got the string for my balloon here, okay? And yeah, it's going that way, that's what I want. And I'm going to get my Memento black. And so basically I want this behind our Triceratops body. Okay, so I have inked up my balloon string. I am going to hold it. This is hard because I've got a camera in my way. So I'm going to hold it roughly where I want it, which is about there. Take out the dinosaur and stamp. Okay. So if you're good with a pen, just draw it in with some black ink. I'm not, so that's the way I did it. So just by eye, I shall sit down again. And then you can position your dinosaur and balloon on either end. Okay, so let's build this up now. So, yeah, it's sort of coming a bit further from behind ahead than on my original one, but it's fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is stick my flowers. There it is. I couldn't find my glue pot. Nicola bought me this years ago. Wonderful, amazing mummy. It just holds the glue upside down perfectly. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of the flower and stick that behind the rocks. Oops, or a lot of glue because it's been sat upside down. Just coming out from behind the rocks there. Okay, and then just glue this. Wow, it is coming out. So, I'm going to pop that there on the bottom. So, just going to clean the top of this before it gets everywhere. Okay, so another craft room essential. These are nail wipes that nail technicians use. They're lint free, so they don't get rubbish all over your stuff. So I'm then going to put down one of the clouds flat, just in the corner there. And then the second cloud I'm going to put, in fact everything else is going on dimensionals. Okay, so got a mixture of dimensionals here. So I'm going to start with the balloon. I'm going to put a large one just on the back of the balloon. Just one. And just on the end of the string. There we go. And then I'm going to put a big one and a little one on the cloud. So take those two off. Ooh. Okay. And they're just going, that's just going to go sort of down and over. Okay, and then finally I am putting, so now on this one I did put glue behind the flower. On this one, to be fair, I forgot, and I quite like the way it's lifting a little bit, sort of a little bit of 3D without being in your face, so I quite like that. So I'm just putting a few, because I have only used thin basic white to make this dinosaur. And then just going to put her, I'm just going to put her slightly more forward on this one so that the balloon is coming out from further back. It's up to you. In fact, I probably did actually on that one. Who knows? Right, it's all whatever you want to do. So I'm going to stick this onto the old olive. So, just a thin bead of glue on there. And then I'll show you how you get all these lined up so that it's covering the sentiment perfectly, or the writing part perfectly. So what we're going to do is open the, stick this on the front first. This needs to be on. There we go. I just love how effective that is, and it's so simple to do. And then raw means I love you. So I'm going to position that in the middle of the back of the card, and I'm just doing it by eye. It's flowing today, this glue. Right, so raw means I love you in dinosaur. Roughly in the middle. And then this will show you where you need to put the glue on the front. So you want this, so it's going to cover that up perfectly, okay, and sit in the middle. So what I'm going to do is put glue where this is. So I'm just going to put a bead of glue down here, and then I need to put glue on this side of this piece. So I'm just going to hold that. So I know it's this side, and I know I need to come roughly halfway, but I don't have to worry about that because I've got that glue there. Okay, so then I'm just going to stick that in the middle, making sure you can't see any of the white. It's got a cat hair. Okay, and you can open that, and it's firmly fixed because you put a lot of glue, but there's no glue here because it's away from the edge. So there we go. So a few top tips today. We've done spraying, we've done ink blending, and we've done positioning joy folds. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed that, and I shall see you again next week with next month's coffee and card, which is birthday celebration, which I don't actually have with me because I used it in a class yesterday. So, but that's next month, and I look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye.